All right. Looks like we have people coming in. All right, everyone. Hello. I am Kelly. I work on the marketing team here at Prove. We're really excited to kick off part one. Face it, Face ID isn't enough of our webinar series. The heat is on. Why OTPs can't handle today's threats. We have a full agenda for the next 30 minutes. So I'm going to go over some quick guidelines and then we're going to get started. So some quick guidelines. We are recording this session, so we will send it out, the recording out afterwards. Feel free to take notes, but you will have access to the full recording. And we encourage this session to be engaging, so please utilize the chat for any relevant questions or comments. We will try our hardest to dedicate time toward the end to address them, but if for whatever reason we can't, we will personally follow up. All right, so let's look at our agenda. We will be covering the following. So market trends, adoption of biometrics, solution offerings, and then key takeaways. So I want to introduce our two identity industry experts. First up is Jeff Scheidel. He is the COO and VP of Solutions at authID. He's been in the identity industry for over 4 decades and is an expert in identity access and management, and he even wrote a textbook on it. And he works at authID, who are leaders in biometric authentication and identity verification, and has been leading the solutions team there. And then Jeff is joined by Dan Kilmore. He's our SVP, Head of Product and Growth here at Prove. And he spent over 25 years in identity and has become very focused in helping to verify consumer identities. And he was previously at Twilio running a go-to-market org there for 8 years.
Oh, thank you, Kelly. We actually have a surprise guest with us today, and without further ado, let me introduce acclaimed actor, Mr. Humphrey Bogart. No audio.
Thinner sound.
Kelly, I think if you unmute yourself, the audio will play.
Tensions who wants to be you.
Want to rewind that?
That worked, Kelly. If you wanted to redo it.
Good, Kelly. You have to unmute yourself.
Let's do that.
Hey, look, one of my favorite actors, one of my favorite movies. But when I take off my lucky bogey hat, it's just me. And that's how easy it is to be somebody else. Somebody else who might want to take over my identity, my access, my accounts. It's free and available to anybody with bad intentions who wants to be you and take your stuff. And that's what we defend against. We make sure that you are really you.
So by the way, that was one continual shot. All I did was flip between a virtual camera and the laptop camera on a Zoom recording. The fake was done with free software on a cheap laptop. It's just too easy. AI turns amateur fraudsters into very dangerous people and allows smart fraudsters to operate at an industrial scale.
Hey, look, one of my favorite actors.
All right. So deepfakes are all over social media, okay? They're spreading disinformation, Ponzi schemes, all sorts of bad content. 2 years ago, one security company noted 500,000 deepfake fraud attempts, and last year was 8 million. One-time passwords and PINs were always meant to be a Band-Aid. Hey, I guessed your password, but I can't guess the one the help desk send to your phone. Oh, wait, I can intercept that now. Or through social engineering, I can actually get you to give it to me. And one-time password interception, like other fraud vectors, is actually available via fraud as a service. Interception bots and malware have helped rack up over $1 billion in SMS fraud.
Yeah, one analyst firm has found that companies are unprepared for deepfakes and synthetic IDs, primarily because they lack advanced AI and ML models. We're here to help fill that gap. But I wanted to call out that 60% in the upper right hand here. Like I've seen a lot of SMS fraud, especially at my time at Twilio. If you have SMS OTP today, you should really ensure that you are locked down to phone numbers from countries you support or at least restrict high-risk countries. Ideally, don't do an OTP possession check until you've confirmed other elements of the user's identity, or use Proof's Trust Score to reduce your risks of SMS pumping.
We keep putting in various defensive measures to prevent bad guys from stealing our identities and thereby stealing our digital assets. But every one of these measures itself ultimately becomes a conduit for bad actors. OTPs can be stolen and then used to compromise other measures like device-bound biometrics or passkeys. Help desks are continually assaulted through phishing and social engineering and tricking call center staff into handing accounts over to impersonators. All our data is out there, rendering KBA a moot point. And some defenses, like authenticator apps, are just plain bad user experience. This is why we're leading the way with facial biometrics. They can steal your passwords and your PINs and your OTPs, your device, but they can't steal you.
So, wait a minute, isn't everyone already using facial biometrics today, unlocking their phones with Face ID and their apps? While Face ID has normalized the acceptance and the use of biometrics with consumers, it has several shortcomings that lead to continued use of compromised solutions like SMS and one-time passwords. Face ID only works on the enrolled device. It can't be used to set up your new device, and it must be re-enrolled on that new device. Additionally, a second face or an alternate appearance can be enabled or enrolled on Face ID, which could easily be used by a bad actor to enroll their own face if they encounter an unlocked, unattended phone. Your apps and your data are synced through iCloud or Google Cloud. A compromised account could allow a bad actor to enroll their own face on their own device connected to your apps and data, somehow getting through some of the protections in place.
We use facial biometrics all the time to access our devices and multiple apps every day. We love not having to type in passwords. We hate having to create strong passwords, especially every 2 or 3 months. But most consumers are using biometrics that are tied only to one device. So people's faces are out there all over the place, but they still worry about when their faces might be attached to sensitive access, and the daily breaches that we hear about in the news all the time add to that worry. They sweat their privacy because now it's not social media holding their face, it's some enterprise company, and they worry about being identified through their enterprise apps. On the organizational side, there are increasing number of laws to be compliant with in regard to storing biometric data, including faces and any measurements of them. Anybody doing business with the continent has to sweat GDPR, for example. I'm based in Chicago, and in Illinois, we have the toughest biometric storage law in the states, BIPA, which is largely based on GDPR, and other states are basing theirs on ours. Did you capture consent? You're not storing actual faces, are you? You have to destroy those faces as quick as you can or on demand. You're only storing the distance between nose and mouth and chin and eyes and ears. That's still considered biometric data. And then, of course, they have to integrate the use of biometrics into an existing infrastructure, such as login and single sign-on, and make it all part of the user experience. But we're going to talk to you about how a proper biometric platform, coupled with device intelligence, overcomes concerns over privacy, compliance, integration, and security.
When talking about device intelligence, proves bread and butter. It's what we've been doing for the last 14 years. And you can start with that. You can actually work with passive signals from a user's device, from their phone, from their SIM card, to actually have a high degree of confidence that you know who the user is ahead of time without asking the user, or in this case, the bad actor, for information asserting who they think they are or who they say they are. Next slide. So Prove is more than just a security check. It's actually a continuum of identity verification and authentication coupled together. So we're watching, like, once you verify a user, we want to make sure that the elements that you verified aren't changing. These things change naturally through life cycle events like getting married or getting a new phone or changing carriers or getting a new phone number. But that shouldn't change the identity assurance underneath there. We don't just check who someone is. We know them, we trust them throughout their digital journey everywhere they go in a private, passive, persistent, and proven way. So this actually starts with most of our customers leveraging our pro methodology. This methodology starts with possession. This is the thing that most people are used to, say, sending an SMS OTP. It's supposed to prove possession, confirm that the user has the authenticator at the moment of the transaction. One better way to do this is to check directly with the carriers. This can be completely passive and eliminate the need for SMS OTPs. But it's not enough because possession of the device really you need to make sure that when you're enrolling that device that it is a good reputation. You don't want fraudsters signing up to your platform or signing up for that loan or the free promotion you're doing by using a burner phone or a number that's recently been recycled or a number that has a bad reputation out there. And so our reputation check, our trust score, make sure that we're addressing this with device tenure, phone number tenure, association with the identity that's been asserted. And then finally, that ownership element of our pro methodology makes sure that this name and this phone number go together and that they've gone together for a while, that there's tenure in that relationship. And this is a super important element of things. But with authID, we can add yet another bubble to this picture. We can add presence. Presence confirms that the user is actually holding the device at that moment. And this is a really valuable way to kind of complete the picture. Not only are they possessing the device, but we have proof that the person that originally was possessing that device is still currently possessing that device. Add this to all of the mix or replace that possession factor with this presence factor, and we have a really solid way to step up with authID together with proof. Next slide. So all of this is done without holding on to a user's PII. It's a very difficult thing to do without holding on to their PII. And it really comes down to managing a user's keys, their devices, tokenized identities, and tokenized identifiers. Well, what are all of these things? Your device is, of course, pretty easy. Your iPhone, your tablet, your desktop. Your auth keys are interesting things. You can have a device key. We offer our own device key called approved key. You can have your SIM key, which is the SIM card that's in your phone that we can check with the carrier. You could have a biometric key. You could have a fingerprint, which is kind of a key. You can have an air key. You can have a variety of different keys that can help us deterministically say we've seen this user before. And we couple all of that with identities and identifiers. An identity is basically a tokenized proxy to a user's national ID, where it couples their identity with these auth keys, creating something that's really powerful. And this is how we're able to go fetch all of that deep, detailed information about a user. And then the identifiers are things that you're commonly associating with the user that help us, they're common identifiers that help us know how to contact the user or just additional information about the user. This could include a selection of phone numbers. It could include email addresses. It could include their names and addresses. And that combination of things, this is, and the interconnectivity of all of these things, this is our graph. This is the graph that powers the technology that we're bringing to you. Next slide. So digging into one element of our platform that really powers our graph, and that's our global fraud policy. It's important to recognize Prove's history for me to explain how we're good at this. We started out as a technology partner to Early Warning Systems a long time ago. Early Warning Systems was initially founded as a consortium of 8 of the biggest banks in the United States. Other banks joined the consortium, and we were tasked with solving phone-centric identity problems for this consortium. And that meant solving the fraud that they were seeing in these consortium banks. And we got really good at, through our efforts combined with these banks, at identifying the emerging threats. And this is what has resulted in our global fraud policy. A couple of key elements of the global fraud policy is our proof phone alias. This is really the thing that says even even through phone number changes, last name changes, and everything, that ownership of a phone account stays consistent throughout a user's journey. We know when a user gets a new phone number, and the phone alias is the consistent thing throughout all of that. What really makes this strong and resistant to fraudsters is our identity established date. We actually have 14 years of every single phone change that has happened to every single phone number in the United States. This allows us to say that this user has been associated with this phone for X amount of time. You can't go back in time as a fraudster and recreate that history. And these things, these ownership things lead to our assurance levels and our trust scores. An assurance level could be as simple as, is this a bot or not? It could be, well, this is a human. It could be, it's a human and we think it's this human. Or it could be, it's a human and it's definitely Jeff. And it's the phone number that Jeff always uses, including all of his online transactions and to call mom. That assurance level is the highest assurance level that we can deliver. And the trust score, as previously alluded to, is the phone trustworthy? Has it recently changed hands? Has the SIM been swapped? Is the phone number recycled now? Is it now in a low-cost carrier in an eSIM bot farm? Our trust score exposes things like that. Next slide.
Okay, so through the partnership of Proven authID, we've merged our technologies and we're trying to provide the ultimate in secure, accurate, privacy-protecting user verification on day zero to get you on board. I don't know who you are yet. And day one and beyond when you return to authenticate on a daily basis. It's designed to be friction-free, very fast, and completely intuitive for people who aren't tech savvy. We process all data and images in milliseconds and at a scale that it's going to far surpass any other provider. We have a false match rate of 1 in 1 billion. We want to ensure that whoever claims to be you is in fact you. No fakes, no pictures, no screen replays, no deep fakes, and no injections, such as with Humphrey Bogart, through a virtual camera or other hardware. And we couple this with Prue's global coverage. We can also leverage any data captured to reconcile to a single entity, meaning a unique individual. We leverage the multiple signals, stands alluding to and describing to arrive at the most deterministic decision possible when users are presenting themselves for consumer or privileged access. And to ensure user privacy as well as regulatory compliance, we store no biometric data whatsoever, nor do we store PII. When you authenticate, you're not being identified from a crowd of people across a ridiculously wide spectrum. Only the people registered to a particular entity or business, only registrants in their ecosystem. So with the combination of authID and Prove, we have both passive and active paths to verify users, which provides the most optionality to onboard users. There's the more passive approach, leveraging the device intelligence, everything that Dan was describing, or a more active path using full document verification. They can be run in a waterfall to handle any requirements or as a backup. When we do employ doc verification, first off, there's no app to download. The user follows a link or a QR code provided to them, get a lightweight executable injected directly into their browser, whatever device they're using. This makes it easier to capture images. We validate the legitimacy of a physical ID, such as a license or passport, any of the 15,000 docs we support from around the world. We validate the selfie, both of these for liveness. We prevent the use of fakes, screen replays, deep fakes, and again, any injections behind the camera. Once both the doc and the face are verified, we match up those portraits to make sure the doc's good, and you're good together. Whether we take the passive or active approach, we leverage our triangulated signals to further legitimize or negate when it's a fake, that user application. And when we do have a verified user, we create a biometric root of trust for ongoing authentication. And we have to do this in a way that protects the user's privacy and the compliance posture of the enterprise by not storing actual facial images. So the way we do that is to use the face as a seed to generate a set of public and private keys, leveraging PKI, which is a long tried and true technology. We immediately discard the private key and store the public key in the cloud, along with the user token. Again, nothing on the user's device. When the user returns to authenticate later, that lightweight executable once again is injected in their browser and recreates the private key from their face. The two keys exchange an encrypted message to get a match Takes between 4 and 25 milliseconds to do that. If we have a match, we pass that user ID back to say, this is the right person. Then that private key is again discarded and nothing is stored locally. Both privacy and compliance are protected, and in conjunction with a very simplified and friendly user interface.
So in closing, by triangulating the strong signals between prove and authID, we actually achieve deterministic identity verification. And this is exhibited through on the proof side with our possession, reputation, and ownership, adding in authID for being in person there, actually being the person behind the phone. Our phone number tenure, having history that a bad actor can't recreate, and device behavior for that matter, that a phone is actually making and receiving real phone calls and real SMSs. Couple this with what authID is bringing in terms of document verification. And in fact, once we've scanned that document, we can take that information and run it through proofs integrity to make sure that it's not a synthetic ID, that the data does actually check out, and as things evolve here, be able to even compare the picture that's on that ID or that document and compare it to an authoritative source. Add in biometric authentication, the selfie ID, all done in a privacy-preserving way, and we really have the silver bullet to solve every use case that a user goes through in the life cycle of owning their devices. And then finally, authID is really bringing some great capabilities along with our passive signals to thwart the deep fakes and to thwart injection attacks. Thank you. Over to you, Kelly.
Awesome. That was great. Well, we do have time for Q&A. So let's start. Okay, so first question. What makes Prove unique and a better choice from other solutions on the market, such as TransUnion, LexisNexis, or Socure?
And so I'll take some of that in the fact that we have proven in our, well, first off, I think our legacy, our history actually says a lot. We are in the authentication stacks of 19 of the top 20 US banks for a reason. And that reason really boils down to our accuracy. We tend to be more accurate than the other providers. We're better at sifting through all of the false signals that are out there, all of the wrong data that's sitting in those credit reporting agencies and in the LexisNexis databases, and getting to the true identity. And that's primarily done by the link weights associating a user to their phone number. This is our superpower. This is something that truly differentiates us from everybody else. Their phone number, their device, it just happens to be the very best way to identify somebody deterministically versus the probabilistic risk-based methods that that a lot of those other vendors are actually using.
Great. And we have another question. What use cases or types of customers are live on our biometric solution, or alternatively, what types of customers or use cases are interested?
Sure. So number one is day zero onboarding. People want to reduce friction. Passwordless. We hear this more and more and more and more. More companies have specifically said they want to do away with passwords. They're hard to manage. Users hate them. They've gotten used to the whole idea of using their face to log in. But again, that's just on that device. Even user ID free. I can find your not your unique face, but I make that public key match. And I say, I found that person right away. And by the way, here's the credential that's associated with them. Here's the user ID or token that's associated with them. Which also, by the way, ensures no duplicates. I've seen that face before, but with a different name. Somebody's fibbing to me. So also help desk, which is a big deal. We see the help desk continually. I mean, the Children's Hospital in Chicago, hospitals in Ohio and New York. A couple of gaming establishments in Vegas, in fact, retail in the UK. People getting hit through the help desk. Somebody through phishing or social engineering finds enough information to be able to impersonate somebody over the phone to the help desk, say, "Hey, this is me in IT. Can you please let me in?" Or I'm a real retail customer, whatever it is, and they gain access to somebody's account. This way, see, the help desk can still help, but how they do it, I will send you a helpful link and you still have to biometrically authenticate and prove it's still actually you. You're not just a faceless voice over the phone to ensure that the right people are able and nobody's going to take over your account. A lot of financial services, we see a lot of that. And again, it's just returning users for authentication. Retail customers are returning shoppers and so on and so forth. Making sure the right people showing up to take a test. We do that in the medical space as well. There's quite a number of them, but a lot of it is to build that biometric rooted trust with this deterministic verification of identity so that people can return day after day and log in and we know it's them. And also, by the way, either do away with or secure password resets. In those situations where people still say passwords haven't completely gone away, what's a common attack vector is I pretend to be you and say I forgot my password and I use social media or whatever it is to fake your password or your KBA. I'd say I can lock down that password reset or password recovery with a biometric.
And I'll just add just a little bit to that. We're new to biometrics here at Proof, obviously, but we've been doing having a lot of conversations with our traditional customers, and a lot of these customers have IDV, as the analysts have created it, which is biometric selfie plus doc scan. The problem is that the fake IDs are so prevalent that you can't trust information that's presented on it, whether it's a real piece of plastic or if it's completely virtually faked. We need to go validate that against a synthetic ID. And so people that are doing traditional selfie plus doc scan really need the extra benefits that our platform brings to ensure that they continue to trust that and get past all of the deep fakes. And then, as Jeff alluded to, like our customers are looking for ways that we can help passively or actively re-recognize returning users under all circumstances, anything that happens in their life without creating opportunities for the bad actors to come in. So reset and recovery is a great place. If you can get the user to enroll in the first place, you have a great way to get them to their new phone when it's time for that.
There's a question during when you were answering, Jeff. How does this prevent the fraudster from still telling the end user, "I will send you a link to go through the biometric authentication," while they are on the phone with the user?
All right, so I understand where that's coming from. The idea is that it has to come from that user's. This is where we can actually leverage Proof further to ensure that we're getting it from the proper device, and that we're again providing the proper face by interfacing those two technologies. We're going to make sure that it's all coming from the right source.
We have time for a few more. How is this solution different from passkeys?
That's the one I wanted you to zero in on. That's a great one. We're having constant conversations here. Passkeys are a big buzzword. There's a lot going on there. They're a great technology if you can get your user to enroll in it. And slowly we're going to get more and more users on passkeys. Approve offers a passkey solution or supports existence with coexistence and really kind of complementary capabilities to those passkeys for those people that are already deploying. So what are some of the challenges with passkeys? User adoption is the number one thing. How do we get off the old stuff before everybody's fully enrolled on passkeys? And we offer a passive middle ground between these two things using a lot of the same technology of passkeys, but no user experience that can be enrolled automatically. We're still storing that cryptographic key in the most secure place possible on the phone, just like the passkey is stored. But we're bringing some additional benefits there. One of the other problems that we've been hearing from our customers about their passkey enrollments and the like is that it's actually creating support challenges because people don't know what to do or what it really means to have this passkey. They'll wipe their old phone before realizing that it has the only copy of their passkey, or they have other mechanisms that get in the way, and so they now are stuck with, well, how do I reset and recover when I don't have access to my passkey anymore? And then if you're dropping to lowest common denominator solutions like SMS OTP, you're still creating the opportunities for the bad actors to take over. Prove is providing that bridge and that complementary technology to help the user more securely and potentially self-service reset to a stable state with their passkey.
We also have the ability to generate and lock down passkeys with biometrics. And then in the event you have, they're typically device bound, they're on the device. We have the ability to regenerate the passkey on a different device, because that's a big thing with being cloud-based and not having storing information on the user device. Is I can say I can register on one device but authenticate on another one. If I upgrade my device, break it, lose it, whatever, it gets stolen, I can regenerate that passkey on another device using the biometric.
Awesome. So that is time. We will follow up personally with any other questions that we have here, but hope you enjoyed the session. Thank you, Jeff and Dan. That was awesome. Please join us next week, next Tuesday at 1 p.m. ET for part 2 of our series, where we'll have Dale from authID and Steve Craig from Prove, who'll be going over the rise of injection attacks in continuation to our series. So thank you again, and I hope everyone has a great rest of your day.
Thank you.